Hi there everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Jan here, and today I wanted to try and do a very quick video. Normally my videos turn into really long ones because I don't know how to do the editing. But anyway, so just to kind of wind up this whole dress pack and things like that and move so I can move on to something else. Just wanted to show you the last little bit because it's adaptable for absolutely anything, and it's very simple to do, but it's quite effective really. So these are the dress packs that I make. I've showed you how to make the dress. This is how I present them, so how I send them out. There's usually a ticket strip and there's this double pocket with tags. So this is sort of how it goes out. Oh, and this top bit here, which is the topper for the pack, actually turns into a page edger. If you take it off, if you get one of these packs and you take it off, you can use it as either a page edger, or you can open it out, that's the back of it, or you can open it out and use it as a belly band. Okay, so that's the pack. Now the bit I want to show you today, let me pop that back on there for a moment. The bit I want to show you today is how to make this double pocket, because as I say, it's so easy and you can make it any size, any papers you want, anything. But I'm going to show you one that I'm making up for the last of the packs. Okay, so this is the double pocket, and as you can see, there's a pocket in the front with a tag and a pocket in the back with a tag, and they cross over here. Okay, right, so what I make mine out of is ordinary copy paper that I have printed a design on. I do use the digital download designs just because, you know, I use them over and over again. I really like them actually. I think you can, you know, they're quite adaptable. I don't tend to use the kits as much as I do just sort of the backing papers, and I make them fit whatever I want them to be. But anyway, so this is this one. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make this because it's simplicity itself. So let's put this out of the way for the moment. I've cut all the pieces out ready, so it shouldn't take too long. And these are the bits you're going to need. Let's start with the tags. The tags I've made here are, this one here is made from what I call my franking paper, which is this stuff. And basically when I finished a project, I cut all the pieces with straight sides and I fit them all together. It's slightly different to collaging, because collaging you just overlap all sorts of bits and pieces, whereas the franking paper doesn't overlap, and it just kind of all butts up together. And where there's some slightly dodgy seams, or, you know, things that I don't like particularly, I have got a stamp for the cross stitch, but also I quite like the rusticness of just hand drawing cross stitches across some of the seams. If I've got any spare lace, then I just put that across some of the seams and press it all down. And then I use this, I've put some images on here of perfume bottles as well, because I thought that went really well. And I use this to make the tags. So I cut them up. So this is one of the tags here. I stick them onto plain cardstock at the back so that you can use them as a journaling spot. And you know how to make tags, I'm sure. And this is just a piece of the paper that I've cut to size and made into a tag. So what I've done here is dictated by the size of the tags. Sometimes you already have tag pattern, you know, tags that you just cut out. I tend to make my own. I haven't got any that I can show you that I've just cut out. But so yeah, whatever size your tags are. So this one here, I've made the I've made the largest one. Let me have a look. The largest one here is about 3 3/4 by, I think it's 2 1/4. And the smaller one is 3 1/2 by 2, I think. Yeah, by 2. Okay, so they're going to fit into the pockets. Okay, sorry, I just want to interrupt for a moment and just apologise up front for the noise. We live on a road and there's a lot of traffic that goes up and down, and also for the light, we're right in the middle of our sort of rainy season, if you want to call it that, where it does nothing but rain every wretched day, and so it's dark and dismal really. Right, okay, so moving on, what you need is, as I say, I make this out of copy paper, ordinary copy paper, and that keeps it nice and thin so that it will go into your journal perfectly happily. And also, I don't waste my time printing double-sided. So this is to show you how to make one of these tags with the crossover pieces that is made from single-sided printed copy paper. Okay? If you've got double-sided, then fine, you can leave out all the first steps, which is great, and just, you know, pick it up from the measurements. But if you've got only single-sided, and then this is, you know, how I do it. So the first thing I do is I've measured, I'm going to take you through step by step. So I measured the tag and I gave you the measurements, and I cut a piece of the copy paper that I want that will comfortably accommodate that, the tag, the largest tag. And for me, on this one, I've just given you the measurements for the tag. The size of the paper for the backing, I've made 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so you want one piece that's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. No, sorry, you need, yes, one piece that's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4, and then you need 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 4 1/4. So these are 1/4 inch wider than the backing one. And the reason for that, as you've probably just seen, is that on both sides I tuck under 1/4 inch. So there and there. So I've made the folds 1/4 inch, and they run up either side, you know, so they sort of go like that, because they're actually going to glue around the back of this. And that's our first step. So let's move these out of the way. So basically I have this, I am going to, I tend also to overlap, how I want it to open is with this front one going right to left and the back one going left to right, but you can alter it around, you can put it the other way around if you want to. So the first thing I've done is I have slotted the backing onto the front like that, into that fold there, and they should fit perfectly along here. And I'm going to do the same with the one that goes on the right hand side, on my right hand side, so that that's the one that crosses over in the front, and I'm going to match them up perfectly. Okay, right, next step is to glue those flaps down. So I want to make sure that these flaps are absolutely butted right up to the fold, right up as far as it will go, like that. Okay, and I am going to, so don't leave a gap, you know, like some things we say leave a gap. Well, don't leave a gap with these, because it's such thin paper, you don't need to. Right, so I want to make sure they're absolutely exact. If you leave a gap, it will show when you make the, you know, when you fold it all over and make the actual pocket. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue simply because I want to use it up. A lot of people swear by it. I don't mind it, but to be fair, I actually prefer my Cosmic Shimmer Glue. It's half the price for a start off, and secondly, it not only does the same job, it actually does a better job in most circumstances. Particularly, you can use it to instead of Fabri-Tac if you're sticking lace or material to paper. It does a really good job with that, which I don't find, you know, I don't find this art glitter glue does so well. Anyway, right, so we're going to fold these over, these 2 flaps, and really seal them down. That's that and that, and I'm actually going to go over it with my bone folder so that it almost makes it join, you know, into the other paper. It's almost no seam whatsoever. turn it over and check that that's okay. It is, it's nice and square, there's no problems. Right, so the next step is to open it out. So you will see that you have the patterned paper in the background, and these two are plain because the pattern's on this side now. But as I say, if you've got double-sided copy paper or very thin scrapbook paper, you don't need to do that part because you'll just have a different pattern on the front. So the next part is to do a little bit of measuring. Now, because I want the back flap to be bigger than the front one that I'm crossing over, I'm going to measure down from the top along this join here. I'm going to measure down 1 inch. And again, once you've made these, try making it the size I'm giving you first. But after you've made them, you'll see they are so easy that you can make these any size. Another good thing to make these out of actually is vellum, because then you don't need to do that first step of joining the pieces, and they make really nice pockets from vellum or, you know, something similar. Now the second one I want to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to make this 1 3/4 down. Again, you can adapt it, you can choose whatever size you want it to be. Makes absolutely no difference. So if you want to make big tags, then make these accordingly. If you want to make a smaller tag pocket, again, just size it accordingly. Right, so now I have got my mark at 1 inch here and 1 3/4 inches here. And on both sides, on the outside edge, I'm going to mark at 1/2 inch. That's so that it just gives us a little bit to put the pocket in. If it's too sharp an angle, the tags tend to fall out. So I've found anyway. Right, I'm really sorry about this, but I've actually got a wasp in here. So if I see it, I'm going to open the window and let it out. Right, so I'm going to mark it at 1/2 inch on this side and 1/2 inch on this side. There we go. Now I'm going to draw a line to connect these 2 points. So on this side, I'm going to line those 2 up, and I'm going to draw a dotted line. Okay, this is the simplest method to do it. So I'm going to draw a dotted line down here like this, and on the other side I'm going to do the same, but obviously it will be higher up to the 1/2 inch point, which is there and there, like that. Try and be as precise as you can. All of these things tend to, you know, look better with precision, and they look more professional as well. And I'm going to join that with a dotted line as well. Right, so now you should have this. This one's higher, this one's a little bit lower. Now, the next part, I'm going to guesstimate about 1/4 inch higher on this line here. And I'm going to, let's turn it around so it's easier to see. And I'm going to draw a solid line that's about 1/2 inch all the way along. Okay, this is going to be your cut line, and this is going to be your fold line, and I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. So about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, it really doesn't matter, just a decent sized piece that we're going to flip over, and that's going to go down there like that. So now you should have this line here, this cut line should not be below the dotted line, it should be above it. Okay, right, now the next thing to do is, again, we're going to guesstimate. I mean, you can measure it if you want to, but I don't tend to bother. So I'm now going to put this level along this side here, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch out, and I'm going to draw a line from the dotted line straight up to the top. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So a line from the dotted line up to the top. Okay, so now you should have that. I'm going to turn it round to the right way, so it's the right side up. Oh, just one thing actually, it's just occurred to me. When you're sticking the background pieces on, the pieces on the backing like this, make sure that it all runs in the same direction. So you can see here I've got a pattern at the bottom. Make sure that you don't end up with your pattern up the top. Make sure that your pattern is always at the bottom or up the top if you want it to be. Right, okay, so now we have this. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut this line here from the dotted line all the way up to the top. Let me get my scissors. So I'm going to cut this line here. Sorry, I've got shaky hand syndrome, apparently it is. Apparently a lot of people get it. And we're also going to do the same the other side. So we're going to cross over this line. We don't worry about this line. We're going to cut from here at the top straight down to the dotted line. Okay, like that. Now we're going to remove this piece. We don't need this. The piece that's at the top. So this piece here we don't need. So I'm going to cut. Don't cut the dotted line, cut your straight line. From here, all the way up, and stop at your previous cut line. So you now have this. So this is loose, and this is cut out. I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm going to cut from here all the way up. I hope I'm in shot actually, I haven't checked. And I'm going to stop at where I cut it before, and we don't need those pieces, so we can put those aside. Probably make something out of them, use them for the franking paper. Right, so now you should have this. These pieces are loose and it should look like this. Let me just double check and see if I am actually in shot. I am, yeah. Right, now comes the only tricky bit of it, and that is this dotted line here, not the straight one, the dotted line on just this bit here, we're going to cut. Okay, you'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to pop my scissors in there, and I'm going to very carefully cut the dotted line up to that fold line there. So now I have a piece that looks like this and this. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Don't forget, don't cut the straight line, cut the dotted line. It's the only time we cut the dotted line on this. Like that. So you have two pieces that look like that. And that is basically the most difficult part out of the way. So I'm going to put that, we don't need the scissors, we don't need anything anymore. So now what we're going to do is turn it over, and these two top flaps that you have here, we're going to fold them to the back side like that. One there and one there, and we're going to stick them down. And what this does is reinforces the edges. Come on, glue, little bit of glue, don't need much. And you just flip them over like that and stick them down, and that reinforces this very thin edge, because it's, you know, as I say, it's thin paper. So yep, we're gonna do this one as well, the same, don't need much glue, and we're going to flip it over and stick it to the back, don't stick it to the front. So the front should now look like this. Okay, one higher, one lower. Now what we're going to do is fold these over and flip them to the front and stick them down. And the easiest way I found to do this is with a metal ruler. So I'm going to place the ruler along that dotted line there, like that. And I'm just going to pick this up and just run a slight crease along it just to get it started with my nail. You can also use tweezers or something else that you might have, but in any case you fold that over like that, and then in a minute we're going to stick them down as well, and that reinforces the front edge of the pockets. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up. I'm going to run my fingernail down it, or you can use, you know, sometimes I use my tweezers like that just to do it, just to score it a bit. Fold it up like that, and then take away the ruler and press it down. You've got a really nice smooth edge. Now, depending on how wide you made these, sometimes you get a little bit on here. I mean, on this one here, it's a tiny, tiny piece, but I'm still going to snip it off just to make it easier to manage. So let me just get my scissors, and I'm just going to snip this off at a slight angle like that. I mean, that's the tiniest piece to take off. And I'm going to do the same this side. Just take off a tiny piece. I mean, you can see how small they are. We obviously don't need those either. Right, and now we're just going to stick these down to the inside in the same way that we did the back flaps as well. So a little bit of glue, a little bit of glue. It will obviously leave a little part up here that's not reinforced, but it doesn't matter because you're not taking a tag in and out of that bit. So you fold this over, stick it to the inside. I like to go over it with my bone folder just to make sure it's well creased down, and do the same with the other flap. Okay, so a little bit of glue along that fold line, spread it out a bit. You can use a glue stick on any of this because it's just such thin paper. It's just that I don't kind of get on too well with glue stick. I find it more difficult to manage. Right, now you should have this. So it looks like this on the front, and when you turn it over, it looks like this. Okay, now I can see that mine here is just slightly out. That will bother me when I come to finish it off, but I'm not bothered about it at the moment. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'll trim it afterwards. So now comes the point. If you want to ink this up and you want to ink these edges here, now's the time to do it. So I'm just going to get my corresponding ink colour. Sorry about my dogs barking. Somebody's just pulled up outside from next door, I think. So I'm just going to ink down there. I'm going to ink down here. I'm going to ink these edges here. I'm probably going to ink along the bottom of where it's the pattern of the paper. You can hardly see it, but it just gets rid of that white edge that you do get with, you know, with paper, no matter how thin it is. I'm going to turn it over, ink this edge, ink this, and ink this. Okay, so it looks like that. I don't bother about the bottom of the inside because you won't see it. And then the final step really is to take your largest flap, the left one, or if you've chosen to do it as the right one, take the right one, but it's the largest flap. And I'm going to run the tiniest, thinnest bead of glue I can just along the bottom. As I say, you don't need to ink, you don't need to do the side. It just, you know, creates a more difficulty for you to manipulate your tags if you do. So I don't bother to do this bit, I just do the bottom. You're going to fold that over and you're going to match that up as exactly as you can, and use your bone folder again to really seal that down. The trick is to use the tiniest bead of glue you can. And I'm going to do the same along the other edge. So I'm going to run the tiniest, thinnest bead of glue along here. It will hold if you're using, you know, one of the better glues like Cosmic Shimmer or this one. Only needs the tiniest bit. Let's move that out of the way. And then you fold that over manipulate it a bit if you have to. Make sure the edge is completely straight at the bottom, and use your bone folder to smooth it down. And that basically is your pocket, your tag pocket. So as you can see, the larger tag, hold on if I can separate it, the larger tag will fit in the back and the smaller tag will fit in the front. Then you can decorate it however you want. Sometimes I put some lace along here, but this has already got the picture of lace, so I don't need it. I think I will put one of these flower bits on here so that it matches with all the rest of the dress and all the tickets and all the other parts. So it's going to look like that. Now, the only other thing I need to do now, because I'm a bit pedantic about it, is take the tags out. And I'm going to just tidy up this bottom edge because that does bother me. I don't like to see that bit there. I'm going to tidy up this little edge here because similarly that sort of, you know, offends my eye. But it's still stuck down at the back. It's not a problem. Let's get rid of those bits. And I am going to round my corners with a corner punch. And I've got it on the biggest one, the 10mm one for this. You can do whatever size you want, or you don't have to round the corners if you don't want to. Or you can even just snip it with your scissors. So now let me just quickly go back over that and just re-ink those corners like that. That and that. Make sure I've got this inked and along the bottom. You don't have to ink it, just that I think it gives a better finish, a more professional finish. Pop your tags in like that. I'm sure I don't need to show you how to make tags like that. You can kind of arrange them if you want to. You can have them, because we haven't stuck the side down, you can have them at an angle to show them off better. You can sort of do whatever you want, but I just like them one down and the other one down. And that, folks, is basically it. I'm just going to attach my little flower here to make sure that everything matches because it's a set. Plenty of glue on here. Tweezers I have put down somewhere. Can't see them, so let's get another pair. And just pop that on the front decoratively, in the middle as much as you can, and hold it down. I'm going to put a peg on mine in a minute when I'm off camera. So there you go, very simple but effective double pocket with tag. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.